From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review.
Edge of humanity. There is no such thing as originality. There is nothing that a human being can create, whether it be building a bridge, writing a novel, using symbols to unravel the hidden wonders of the universe, that isn't borrowing from those that came before them. With Einstein, it was Planck and Poincaré. With McCartney, it was Bobby Scott and Chuck Berry. Their genius was in taking the achievements of their forebears and twisting them to their own glorious and greater ends. Look at all great works, and they glimmer in seeming originality, but turn them over, and their roots are showing. This can certainly be said of Donald X. Vaccarino, who took the setup of a game and transformed it into the most emulated game mechanic of the last 10 years. Dominion was a level 9 Richter magnitude quake that rumbled through the gaming world a decade ago, and the aftershocks are still being felt today. Dominion led to deck builder after deck builder being pumped out by companies eager to reap the rewards of this great innovation. Conveyor belt trade rows were introduced. Some of them were co-op, some head-to-head battles, some exceeded the original, and others were flimsy, pale facsimiles. But this is the way of things. There is no such thing as originality. There is only degrees of iteration, and it is utterly unsurprising that this is the case. We are a species that revels in patterns, and so it follows we should wish to create things that conform to the familiar. The truly original would be entropic. It would offer us nothing to grasp onto, no pattern to discern. We don't crave original. We crave refreshing. Edge of Humanity is not original, but it's incredibly refreshing. Edge of Humanity is a deck builder set after the end of the world. Players build decks to combat the horrors that have risen after the S has HTF. Goods and weapons can be traded for building shelters and defending them. Survivors can be recruited, and they can contribute their skills to the community in the hope that you'll get out of this alive. The game is broken up into a number of phases. Cards can be acquired in one, and survivors recruited in another. In the action phase, cards are played that allow players to develop their settlements or get much needed healing or steal or scavenge the supplies they need. While this isn't a co-op game, there are no opportunities to directly attack opponents, as the game takes on the burden of that itself, and it takes it on with relish. Each game is played within a scenario, which is a small deck of event cards that tell a story. There are 3 scenarios in the box: the deadly pandemic, the nuclear holocaust, and the alien invasion. This deck acts as a timer, but also a series of birch twigs to thrust into the spokes of the player's front tyres. At the beginning of a round, an event is revealed that presents the players with choices. None of these are easy, and at times they can be incredibly harsh. This is not the random caprice of card pulls though. The scenarios are played in order, and the game gives you ample opportunity to plan for these regular events. Indeed, this is part of the skill and delight in playing the game, fighting against the maliciousness of the event deck and watching as your opponents flounder. This is a game that succeeds wildly in promoting tension and excitement. It is structured to promote planning and has just the right amount of chance to force you into adapting and shifting those plans. It rewards caution and punishes complacency, and doesn't withhold either. This game has been commended for being thematic, and while I think that's true, this doesn't lie in the text of the game. It descends into the pulp and into the florid far too much, and sometimes uses the pathetic fallacy egregiously. But this is incidental. This game evokes theme mechanically through its promotion of tension. Players start with life counters, and life can be spent to do things, to play certain cards, to get more actions, to achieve ends. This simple utilisation of currency in the game makes you feel like you're putting your community in danger and losing health through stress or injury. Losing all of your life doesn't eliminate you from the game, but knocks you out for a round. It feels like your community has stretched itself too far and has to hunker down, to rest and heal before it can venture out into the world again. Resources are scarce in this game, and there is a real push between simply collecting base goods or acquiring the skills that will aid you down the road. At no point is the decision of what to buy easy, and there is always a doubt after you've bought something, a doubt that you have made the wrong choice and that choice could affect the welfare of your entire community. It is this peril that makes the simple action of buying cards a delicious dilemma. The culling of your deck is elegantly and simply implemented, with the cards used to construct buildings or to recruit survivors being trashed from your deck into a communal discard pile. That means that abundance is always an illusion. The way this evokes the deprivation and sacrifice that every community must go through to improve itself is so simple that it's brilliant. I am slightly concerned, though. Open the box and it's half empty. This is a game that would be incredibly simple to expand and wouldn't suffer for it. In fact, it demands it. But it seems that it's been neglected. Nothing has been announced for it, and this is worrying. It would be a crying shame for a game that is so good to wither on the vine. Edge of Humanity is a reiteration of what came before it. The mould wasn't broken with Dominion. They made moulds of moulds, and those that received these moulds chipped away at them and changed their shapes, but the mould was always recognisably the mould. This is true for Edge of Humanity, but it iterates beautifully on a great idea and twists it to its own needs and desires. Edge of Humanity makes you feel like you're scrabbling for existence in an unremitting world, and this is the best compliment I can give it. My only fear is that this game, like the characters that inhabit it, will die and be lost to the tides of history. Thank you for listening, and you can support this show by going to patreon.com/5G4D or make a one-time donation on the PayPal link at the bottom of the website 5gamesfordoomsday.com.